If you have a checking account in California, your totally free checking account might very well become a thing of the past if California liberal politicians pass a bad bill that they're considering. Coming up, I'll tell you all about how your free checking is under attack by state legislators. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and leave it to California liberal politicians to screw up a good thing. Everyone has heard the advertisements from banks and credit unions of, quote, totally free checking. Many of us, we obviously have our bank accounts, but even if you don't write checks anymore, we still have a checking account. It's where your debit card, comes from, and you transfer money, to various places. So checking accounts, I think everybody, needs to have it in order to survive in this world, even as modern as banking has become. It used to be years ago that there would be fees associated with checking, but then various financial institutions realized that people didn't like the idea of having to pay fees to use their own money. So the concept of totally free checking came about. Fast forward to today. All of that innovation, all of that convenience is about to be done away with in California if a terribly flawed legislative proposal goes through. Let me give you the bill number. It's Assembly Bill 2017, and it's from Timothy Grayson, Assembly member. He's the chair of the Committee on Banking and Finance. And AB 2017 would prohibit banks and credit unions from charging non-sufficient funds fees, NSF fees. In other words, if someone bounces a check, then there won't be you can't charge a fee for that. Now, I know a lot of us don't like fees, but let me just point out first and foremost that the politicians saying that they want to get rid of junk fees are actually the purveyors of some of the worst junk fees out there. Okay, California Democrat politicians are always adding hidden charges to everything that government touches. So your cost of living, the predatory fees that you're paying, in large part are coming from people like Assembly member Tim Grayson. So when this guy says, oh, I'm trying to give people some relief from these bad junk fees, when you clean up your own disastrous, expensive, costly, negligent fees that you impose through your government policies, Mr. Grayson, then I'll take you seriously. But this is nothing but a grandstanding law that will hurt people. You see, banks and credit unions actually have costs associated with every account that they have on deposit. So you open up a checking account. The bank has various regulatory requirements, reporting requirements. They have data systems. They have staff that have to, do something with every single account that's out there. As efficient as they become, there's still a cost. And the estimates range from $15 to $20 a month per checking account is the cost for a financial institution to have a checking account for someone. 15 to 20 a month. I know, insane. That's because of regulation-happy politicians like Tim Grayson adding costs to banks. And again, I'm not saying we should deregulate banks, but I do think that there's a lot of regulations that are not justified by cost-benefit analysis. And you and I are paying for that, by the way. There's no magic fairy with money at a bank. Banks have to charge interest or charge fees, make investments with the monies on deposit so that they can earn enough money to have branches, to have staff, to pay for regulatory compliance officers. So all of that is coming from you and me. And ultimately, these Democrat politicians, I think, are responsible for the cost of a checking account being $15 to $20 per month. I don't think that is defensible. I think it should be lower than that. But it's because of the cost of operating a bank and those regulations that figure comes in, $15 to $20 a month. So let's talk about the fees. One of the ways a bank is able to cover the cost of $15 to $20 a month is when, and by the way, the $15 to $20 a month also includes money where the bank has to write off a loss because someone did defraud the bank. Money somehow was overcharged and the person skipped town. So that's where the $15 to $20 number comes from. It's not just, the branches that they have and the technology and the data systems and whatnot and regulation, but it's also people scamming, other scammers, bad people who don't pay their bills, who abuse a checking account privilege. And so one of the ways they're trying to shield good bank customers who don't have major overdrafts is by saying, well, the people who are overdrafting their account, they should be the ones that pay some sort of penalty. Now, every bank also offers a product where you can pay a fee monthly and not worry about these fees, these overdraft fees that you're given safe harbor. So there's all sorts of products that banks have come up with to meet the market need. But make no mistake about it, there are people out there who intentionally write bad checks. And even with fees being applied to them, they still do it. Can you imagine what they would do if no fees were applied? They would do it a lot more. And that would cost you, a good bank customer, in the form of totally free checking being eliminated. I've talked to many of the bank executives, and they've said, if this bill passes, there's a high likelihood that they would not be able to offer totally free checking in the state of California. It's just insane. Again, these do-gooders think that they're helping you, but they're actually hurting you. So I urge you to contact Assemblymember Grayson and tell him, dude, get rid of the government junk fees before you even stick your nose anywhere else. And stop driving up the cost as the banking chair for a bank to provide a checking account for me, because I have to pay for that somehow, or someone has to pay for it. At Reform California, we are on the lookout for bad bills like this one. And I want to encourage you to join our movement. Go to reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution so we can continue to do this work, and sign up to get our voter guide. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip code at the bottom of the website, reformcalifornia.org. Until next time, be thankful that you have totally free checking, and join the fight to restore some fiscal responsibility and sanity in our state at reformcalifornia.org. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.